Hey, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Wild and the Whites podcast. So, here we are today, Casa de Buckley.
Welcome.
And we have a very exciting announcement for everybody. Sitting next to me here is our newest member of the team, Tyler Clark.
Welcome.
Everybody applaud.
How's it going?
We were working on like a good pyrotechnics and dry ice entrance for you.
This is all I got.
Yeah.
Here you go.
This is what we ended up with.
Smoky wood and flames.
All right, I like it.
Something to keep your legs warm there.
Yeah. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sweatshirts and shorts.
what's that?
Sweatshirts and shorts.
My favorite
It's-
time.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Me
Wear
and Paul
shorts
at least
until
have
snow
jeans
falls.
on. At least I'm not the only ones with jeans on.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, we brought Tyler on because he brings a very different dynamic to the team here with a big emphasis on bird hunting, which I never done. Paul has some experience into it.
Thanks to Tyler.
And as well as just one hell of a driven human being, and we need that in our team. Because
I wouldn't go that far.
well, we would.
Well, all three of us are in agreement.
Yeah, so he's kind of busy, does a couple
bit.
things with his life. So we're just grateful that you're taking time out of your busy schedule to give us the time of day, honestly.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And you want to get into content creation, filming stuff, doing all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
That can help our channel out, coupled with Andrew here. You guys can go crazy on the video stuff. I've been playing around a little bit with stuff, and I plan on recording and then giving you the stuff so then you can go crazy with the editing on it, because I don't have a lot of time for that, and you seem to enjoy it more than I do.
Enjoy it, yes. Time for it.
Time for it, exactly.
We
I
gotta
think
make
we
the
all
time.
have that.
So we'll
schedule
record
that
a bunch, and hopefully by this time next year we'll have 1 or 2 videos out.
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
So
And if not, blame him.
Down. Just
Right.
keep aiming down.
Keep going down.
Everyone
Yeah,
keep
that
pointing
guy.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Tyler, can you just give our listeners just a little introduction on yourself, kind of what got you into the outdoors? Because
Yeah.
this is an outdoors podcast, so
Yeah.
we don't have to get into the nitty gritties about who you are, but
Yeah.
why the outdoors?
Yeah, so
Where'd that start?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that I born and raised in the Lincoln Woodstock area.
Okay.
Lived here pretty much all my life. I moved away for a few years for school, but came back, right? I would say my father was a pretty big influence in that, like a lot of young kids. My birthday falls in November. It always falls in the whitetail rifle season. And so from 5th grade all the way through, my birthday present from my parents was I got to get out of school for the first week of rifle season. And my father used to go with the guys to a hunting camp over in Benton. And that was kind of what really got me going. So I'd get out of school for a week, I'd get my assignments from the teachers, and I'd go to hunting camp with the guys. And we would just spend an entire week all day in the woods doing stuff. I saw many really nice deer get killed. And and that was kind of the hook. And then as I started to grow up, my father, ice fishing was a big thing.
Cool.
So we're always outside. Wintertime, we were always out. Summertime fishing, we'd hit a lot of the local ponds around here. We have a camp up in Pittsburgh, so I always
Nice.
spend summers up there. And I kind of snowballed from there. So as a child, that was what I always did. And then when I got past that phase of always going with my father, you go out on an adventure on your own. I got big into the waterfowl hunting thanks to a good friend of mine, and turkey hunting has taken off for many years for me too. But I would say, that's kind of how I got thrown into it. It was an early childhood introduction from my father as my birthday present.
Yeah.
And it's been great. I hike, I hunt, I fish, I do all of those things. We live here. A little side note, I'll go back. We moved away, my wife and I moved away for college, and we found ourselves every Friday night driving north and every Sunday night or early Monday morning driving south. And we did that for 2 years, and then finally we're like, what the hell are we doing? We miss it. She lived in Lisbon, so a little farther north than I did. And her family's big into hunting. Her dad bow hunts every year, all year long.
I was gonna say, and Jess hunts.
And she hunts too. Yeah, my wife actually hunts. She's actually killed more deer with a bow than I have. So, edit that out, okay?
So if you
Yeah.
want to leave, we'll get her on the podcast.
No, she would actually do better than I would. And she's a great cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back
yeah.
to our hunt and fry.
Yeah, we created this whole show on one episode, not to interrupt you, but we got this idea of like if we filmed going out hunting and then cooking afterwards. Like no one's ever done that before, right? So like that would be just such a great opportunity for us to do like a catch and cook kind of thing, but like a meat griller kind of theme.
I get
you
you.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Something
talking
interesting to do.
Are you talking very far after, like go home and do it? Or are you talking like on the tailgate of the truck?
Yes, all of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I usually have the Weber grill on the back of the truck,
Right.
so that wouldn't be a hard thing to do one of these days.
If we get you guys all into some duck hunting, you'll
Yeah.
see that we like to cook a lot in the blind. That's a really cool thing.
Perfect. Yeah.
So,
No. Yeah.
Your Pepsi cans don't count, Tyler.
yeah. There's a lot of Pepsi cans. But anyways, I diverge.
But back to you were saying, you
Yeah.
kind of came back here because you love this area, so you kind of
Yeah.
reacquainted with this area.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, growing up here, doing everything outside, like 100% outside. I never got to play video games. I didn't have that when I was a kid, really. So like everything was biking with friends, building forts in the woods, doing all that sort of stuff, and then the hunting, fishing, hiking, that whole part came as I grew. And yeah, every year that was like the only thing I looked forward to. Was I knew come my birthday, I got to get out of school and I got to go to hunting camp with the guys,
Nice.
and it was cool. There are a lot of good memories from that. I remember watching my dad kill. Actually, you want me to throw out a funny story? So
Yeah,
when I
go
was,
for it.
so when I was in middle school, I broke my leg playing soccer. Earlier prior to the season, I was in a cast and crutches, and my father and I went to this spot, and it wasn't a very far walk from the truck. And he knew where he was going to put me, and he knew where he was going to go. And so we hobble in. He carries my gun. I'm on crutches going in the woods, and I get to my spot, and I sit down in a chair. And he leaves me, and he goes off to his area. And I don't know, maybe an hour later, boom, gunshot, right, goes off. And it scared me because I wasn't ready for it. I fell backwards in my chair. And my leg is in like a cast up to here, so it's like sticking like this. And I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get myself up. I couldn't move. I didn't want to yell because I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So I laid there on my back for a while. Eventually, my dad came over and he started laughing when he saw me. But it was pretty cool, like those kind of memories. He shot a nice deer, and he got to come find me laying on my back. So
With your leg up in the air like a flagpole.
yeah, exactly. And no, it was cool. Like that was, for me, having my birthday every year go to hunting camp with the guys was just a cool thing. As a little boy, it was awesome. So
And
Yeah,
you
so-
still go up quite often to Pittsburgh during the summer, and
Yep.
then don't you go up in the fall?
a little bit, not as much as we should. And it's wintertime, not as much as we should either. Last year we went up a few times, did some ice fishing, which was cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I do like to go up in the summertime. I do a lot of fly fishing also. So it's a great area up there for that.
Yeah, that's actually where my dad taught me how to fly fish.
Yeah,
Was-
awesome.
Yeah, that whole like trophy stretch on
Yep.
Perry Stream and all that.
Yep. I fish
Yep.
that quite a bit.
Yep. So what is it that keeps you going back to the outdoors?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it, and you guys all know what I'm talking about. But like, when you go out into the woods, it doesn't matter if you harvest an animal or anything whatsoever. But just like you're out there, it's quiet. You see things, you hear things. You're walking, you're doing, and you just come across things you never would see. And I don't know what it is, but like, I could walk out in the woods with my rifle and not see an animal, but like sit on a rock, and it's the coolest thing ever. And then like the next day, I want to get up and do it all over again.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know how to explain it other than it's just it. I don't know.
Yep.
And then the other cool part of it is, and this is something I'm hoping we all get into this year too, is, some types of hunting like whitetail hunting and other things are a little different. But once you get into some of the like waterfowl stuff, it's also a very big social like aspect. Like it's like this.
It's a huge social aspect.
It's a blind like this, and we're talking, laughing, drinking, eating, having fun while still like hunting and shooting, and it's a blast. So like that part of it too, like the camaraderie, the kind of social part is really cool.
Gotcha.
and which is probably why I've transitioned from when I was a kid primarily whitetail hunting to now as an adult primarily waterfowl hunting.
Really?
I still do a lot of whitetail hunting, and I do a ton of turkey hunting. But for whatever reason, if I had to wake up, in October and pick one thing to do, I would go duck hunting.
Okay.
And I would say since you got me into duck hunting, 5-6 years ago now, I enjoy more than anything getting up at 4 a.m. when we're driving over.
That's the downfall to duck hunting, is getting up so early.
Getting up, driving over to Connecticut,
Yeah.
and just all the antics that have gone on over the past couple of years,
Yeah,
from dragging the kayak down over the bank. And
We have some stories.
Yeah, you going up to your chest in water.
I've
There's
dunked
been-
myself a few times.
There's been some good times, so it's.
But it's cool. Waterfowl hunting, and maybe we'll move on to this. I don't know, not to get off topic,
No,
but
it's fine.
One thing that really hooks me with waterfowl hunting is, like, especially whether it's a cornfield or a hayfield or the river, just that early morning that Paul's talking about. You're out there and, like, you can hear the birds starting to come awake, and then, like, the crows are going crazy, and then you hear ducks flying. You can't see them really, but you can hear them.
Mm-hmm.
Being on the water is really cool. Like, you're out there in waders, setting up decoys, and birds are flying around. It's just it's a different ball game. It's really cool. It's a fun time.
I feel that way about hunting in general.
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of people, ask why, what keeps bringing you back. And, like, for me, I'm like, when was the last time that you got out in the woods before the world was awake and listened to it wake up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you're, like, sitting there and you, like, hear the slow rise of and it can be, like, civilization, too. The cars start up and start rolling and just, like, putting together all these pieces in your head as, like, it was so still when I got out here, and then all of a sudden, an hour later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything awakes. Yeah.
It's cool, and, like, you hear all the different animals pick up. Everything from the bugs to the birds to whatever it might be. They all start to wake up, and if it's deer hunting, hopefully you start hearing crunch, crunch, crunch.
Right.
If it's,
You
turkey
see that
hunting,
big squirrel coming?
right. If it's turkey hunting, maybe you're getting the gobbles off the roost, that excitement almost builds with the sun rising up too. And the same thing with in an evening hunt when everything just starts winding down and going to bed and goes away. But I think it's more pronounced in the morning.
Yeah.
I think it's more pronounced.
I think you can think you're far enough out in the woods that you're away from civilization, you're away from people. If you go out during the daytime, you don't really pick up on it. But if you go out early morning before sunrise and before people are really moving, heading to work and stuff, the level of noise, ambient noise that's around is totally different. And all of a sudden you'll hear that car start up that you weren't realizing that was a car going by when you're way out there.
Yeah.
Like, when you're up in the woods and you're like, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's the wind. But early morning, you hear that change of what's actually the breeze or what's a vehicle going by, and you could be a couple miles out.
Right.
Yeah. It is. You're right. It's weird how sound almost travels differently at that time of day. Yeah. No, so I totally get that. I mean, that's one of the first things I noticed because I started turkey hunting. Like, that was the first thing I hunted.
Yeah.
And that was, like, one of the coolest things was I'm like, how many people sit out in the middle of the woods with their back against a tree and just are out at this time? How many people experience that, So it's very cool. We got to get you into it. Yeah.
This year.
This year.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
Ready.
You ready for a couple of early
Well, there's
mornings?
40 of them right down there, so you can actually do it if you're ready.
As they're pecking across my lawn, I'm going,
We'll just turn the camera.
hold,
Right.
hold.
You only have a few more days.
Yeah.
Then they'll disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything disappears once the season opens.
Yep. No, it's so true. It's so true. You bear hunt at all, or?
A little bit. So, I've shot several bears. I've never actually shot one sitting down specifically hunting for bears, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they come along.
Yeah, I'm more the guy that if I'm out deer hunting or doing something like that and I come across a bear, I might do it. Sometimes I've passed on them. But I've never really gotten into, specifically bear hunting, whether it's baiting hounds or just like still hunting for bear or whatever the case may be. I've never really gotten into it that much. I've killed a handful, but it's all been by chance. They've come by when I've been doing something else.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been like the 2 weeks leading up to archery season for deer.
Yeah.
It's fun to have something to do.
Yeah.
And then, like, every once in a morning, I'll hunt. Do we have somebody walking in the woods over there? Or?
I think that's a bear.
It's bigger.
Oh, good. Well,
It's a
you heard
blonde
us.
one
right.
that weighs about 75 pounds.
You guys talking about me?
He'll be around again in a minute.
Yeah, it's just then like basically the season will go where I hunt deer in the morning and I hunt bear in the evening for a
Yep.
little bit, unless I got like a really good evening spot, because I definitely put more emphasis on deer hunting.
Yeah.
And I can't really, you asked me about this, I can't really put like a finger on why that is, but it's just the way that it feels to me, as I do enjoy the deer hunting more.
Yeah.
And I think a portion of it is because I do bait. You kind of just sit there and watch them for an hour.
Yep.
While you're sitting there like, yeah, is this the right one? Is
Right,
it not?
I'm gonna do
Where
it.
like deer, it's like, it's right there. I got to make a decision. This has to happen now.
Yep.
And there's like all that excitement. There's not like the adrenaline rush with the bear
Right.
over bait, at
Right,
least.
right.
I've never done it with hounds, so I don't really know what that's like. But
I enjoy it. It's a different style. That's the
Sure.
biggest thing. It's if you like working with dogs and watching dogs work and that style of things, like with your upland bird hunting, that type of stuff where you're working right with the dog's either pointing or flushing the birds up. What?
nothing.
You're good.
He's making noises over here.
Oh. So if you like that style where you're getting to watch how the dog's mind works and what they're actually doing, that it might attract you more to go towards hunting with hounds, because you're kind of seeing that same stuff. But if not, and you're not interested in it, it's kind of going to be same for you as baiting.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking to a guy today that used to run hounds. He doesn't have time for it anymore.
It's a lot of time for the
yeah,
guys
it's a
that
ton of
guys
time.
that have the hounds. It's a lot of time.
He
and
was,
effort
I
they
mean,
put
he
into
was
it.
running through a little bit of like the time commitment for me. And, you know, he's like, we were running Fishers every single day when it was season for Fisher. Then it shuts down and you have like 2 months, 3 months off. And then like the moment you can start running them again, I think, is it June or July? Like
They
first
can-
that you can start.
They can, they're, I want to say it's end of July is training season for bears,
Yeah.
and that's when they can go out.
Yeah.
They can run the dogs, get them all trained up, and then they'll stop. They shut down for the opening weeks
Yes,
of bear
of bait.
season and bait
Yeah.
season. And
Yeah.
then they'll kick back up. And
He
they
says
kick
he
back
ran
up
his
on the
dogs
15th.
every single day. He'd get up at like 3:30 in the morning to run his dogs, tree a bear, be done by 7 so he could go about his day.
Yep.
And that's what you got to do to keep him up on everything. So
And it
it's,
also
it's
keeps
a wild
the-
commitment.
It's a big. The dogs have to stay healthy enough and have the stamina to do the run, to do any of that tree work, because otherwise you're going to have hurt dogs, and they're not going to be any good to you. Or
Right. Anyway, a little diversion
Yeah,
there.
that's
but,
right.
Yeah. So we did an episode, and I want to ask you this question with no preparation time whatsoever.
Bring it.
But our first like episode after the introduction episodes that we all did was a topic of what a trophy means to us, each one of us. And I think that's a really cool thing for our listeners to know about somebody, and really is a good insight into who they are.
Yeah.
So do you mind answering that question? What does a trophy mean to Tyler Clark?
Oh boy, that is a tough question with no preparation. In the world of hunting,
Yep.
we'll go there. All right.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
In the world of hunting, I am not by any means a trophy like the people that antler only type stuff. So. So I would go on to say that for me, a trophy hunt or a trophy animal would be something that I had to work extra hard for, maybe, and whether or not there's somebody special or not special, I guess, with me to experience that, right? So I'll give you an example.
Are you saying I would be special to be
Well,
with
I'm
you?
not pointing at Paul,
Okay,
but
I'm just
The
asking.
gesture
Yeah,
was
I mean-
there. We agree.
Yeah, special, right? Okay. If you all know Paul, we're on the same page, right?
Someone
And
special.
if you don't,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
think of that special
Yeah,
person
yeah.
in your life, and that's Paul to all of us.
Yeah, so the trophy aspect, I would have to say, would be something along those lines for me. And so I look at like, I've shot a handful of deer. Nothing has been, these huge deer. But to me, like my wife's first deer was really cool. Like that was a special moment. I was sitting in a tree stand 75 yards from her, watching the animal for an hour, watched her shoot, tracked the animal, did that whole thing with her. So that was really cool. I would consider that a trophy animal for her, especially, and for me. And then, like, I think of something like my son. So I have three kids. My oldest is 10, and he's now shot 2 turkeys. Both of them were actually bigger than any of my first turkeys many years ago. At 8 years old, he shot like a 22-pound tom. Yeah, it was
Nice.
awesome. So it was really cool. So that's a hard question to answer, but I would go on to say something along the lines of if it's special, like it means something to me. And I guess all animals do, but like, you know, maybe if I'm duck hunting, it might be a bird that we don't traditionally see around here that we kill. That's happened a handful of times. We did a goose hunt in a field not too far where we traditionally don't see snow geese, and we killed the one snow goose in that whole flock of birds. So like that was a cool, I would consider that kind of a trophy, right? Does
we
that
got
make
those-
sense? That's kind of, what's that?
When we got those teals in that flock that
Yeah.
wasn't normally there.
Yeah,
That was a good
yeah.
time.
There's some ducks that we shoot over in the Connecticut River that we don't really see that often around here, and those are cool. That's like you shoot it and it's a special moment. Or if they're banded, that's another thing. Like we don't, I shouldn't say we don't. We do kill a handful of bands, but like it's
You got
a special
quite a few
thing.
hanging on your chain.
It's a special thing, So. So I'd say that I can't really give you a specific answer, but I
Sure.
think it relates to the actual events that happen, not necessarily the animal itself, but the events that happen. If that makes sense,
Right.
Do you feel where I'm going there?
And that, for me, who's not done any of this, I can relate to that a lot more because it is more about just that moment. Who am I
Yeah.
doing this with?
Yeah.
What's it doing outside? What's the funny joke we just told 10 minutes ago
Right.
that I'm still thinking about?
Right.
Right.
It's that moment that we're talking.
Yeah.
That makes it special.
Yeah, exactly. I have some hilarious moments too on video from previous hunts that are. I will laugh every time I watch them. People falling, people chasing birds, people ruining a brand new $1,500 shotgun. Yeah. So, anyways, he's not here, but
No, he's not here. He'll know who he is.
he'll
though.
know if he hears this.
I
And
actually
that's
don't
all
know
that
if
matters.
he's watching this yet. We should find out.
Yeah. It's the moments. That's for me. That would be what defines it. Is not
Sure.
necessarily the animal, but
Has that changed over time for you? How long?
Oh, yeah.
How many years have you been hunting roughly?
the first deer I ever shot at, I would say I was somewhere between 10 and 11.
Mhm.
That was the first time I ever shot at a deer. It was a single shot, 410. And I remember I shot at him. I shot low, right underneath him. He jumped straight up in the air and stood there. And my dad's whispering in my ear to reload, and I'm trying to break this thing open real quietly, and I get the shell loaded, and right when I cocked it back down, he gone. So I don't know, I'd say about 10 would be. So,
Yeah.
28 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how has that changed over time for you? Your definition of a trophy.
It's changed. Actually, that's a really good question. So it's definitely changed because as a kid, I always wanted to shoot the biggest buck ever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, that was like, when I go to hunting camp, take me out of school, go to hunting camp, and all the guys there, they almost every year, a lot of them got deer, and some would get little spikes or 4-pointers. Some got these big, nice 8 or 10 pointers, and they were, I always wanted that big deer. So, that's probably where I started, just like most everybody, I would imagine. And now, like, it's changed into what we were just talking about. Half the time when I go turkey hunting, I don't even shoot a bird. Like, I am so pumped to go out and call for somebody else to shoot a turkey.
Yep.
In the past probably 5 to 10 years, if I kill a turkey, I take every one of my friends out I can after that and try to get every single person a turkey, or vice versa. The last
Yep.
2 years,
I've
gotten other people turkeys and then shot mine like the last day of the season. You know
Sure.
what
I
I
was
mean?
gonna say you've been doing that for a while, making sure everyone else out there gets out with you.
So now I don't
There
even
you go.
care. Like, I don't even care if I shoot. We go duck hunting. Obviously, I want to shoot, but like, it's cool to watch everybody else shoot and do stuff. So yeah, it's definitely changed. It's evolved from I want to shoot the biggest buck to I just want to enjoy the moment and see what happens and see what everyone else does.
Right. And I think that because it's similar transformation, I think happens just with maturity.
Yeah.
Because like you find what you truly enjoy about it, and that's what like listening to you describe what you enjoy about hunting now. It's like so peaceful and no stress.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you're like, I want to get the biggest buck,
Yeah.
I want to go after
Yeah.
that is such a drive for a specific goal.
You're right.
That if you don't get can be so depressing.
Yeah, true.
And so if you set that, then you almost kind of set yourself up for a failed season, because
Yeah.
if you don't achieve that, can you look at yourself in the mirror and say that it was a success?
Right.
Now I can.
Right.
And I think now probably you can too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I'll piggyback onto that too. Another thing is, younger, and a lot of people still might be like this, but like you hear the people that don't want to tell where their spots are. They don't want other people going with them. For me, I don't care if it's deer hunting or duck hunting or turkey hunting. I'll bring, if all 4 of you guys say, hey, I want to go hunt deer in your spot, I'll be like, hell yeah, let's go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what happens. A lot of times I go with other people who get animals and I don't, and it's the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
So that's just kind of like a little side note to that, is the same part of it is not only have I felt like the trophy for me has changed, but I could care less who comes with me. The more the better in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more fun once you have a group that you hunt with.
Yeah.
It totally changes the dynamic of hunting season rather than just hunting by yourself. Even if you guys, we all meet up in one spot in the morning and then break off and go different areas, but we're all in the same block.
Yeah.
So if one of us shoots, the rest are all going to hear it and be like, all right, who was it? And then you all go and help and you join in on the fun. Like that day we helped Brad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very similar to that. Like that mindset, I think it changes the whole hunting dynamic. It changes how you're looking at the hunt itself for whatever game it is and how you're going to operate in the woods. Because you know at least you got backup. You fall out of your tree stand, you know you got someone around that who knows roughly where you are. It changes how you're operating a little bit.
Yeah, if you don't want to drag your deer, you just call somebody else. Right? Hey, come on over here.
Come help.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Someone to go get the jet sled.
Yeah.
So exactly, right? Or to bring it from home 20 minutes away.
Yep.
And, yep.
He's having the time of his life tonight.
Yeah. So if our listeners have heard any little random breaks in our talking here, it's because we've been watching Cannon do circles for the past like 30 minutes of just trying to get energy out.
Put your microphone up to his mouth. He's breathing heavy.
So I had cut a limb a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's having a blast with that over there.
To do the saddle.
Oh yes.
And
Yep.
I left it over to the side, and he's been just tugging on that and taking off. So
Get out of there.
it's an old fire pit.
So
Anyway,
Tyler, what would be your goal for coming into this team? I kind of touched on what our plan was for you, but what do you want to get out of this?
The biggest thing I think is the whole social aspect. Like, I think it's just cool you guys have your group started, and Paul was nice enough to talk to you guys and be like, hey, let's bring Tyler in. And that's cool to me. And like, I look at the season coming up and I say, how fun is this going to be? Like, we could go out hunting together. I could film for you, or someone films for me, or we do this, or we do that, or we plan a group, duck hunt, or whatever it is. I just think it's cool. I think it's a cool idea. It brings people together that haven't, always been together. And we all share the same kind of feeling. Like, we want to go out in the woods and do something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I see. I see just being part of the group, as long as you guys are willing to let me be a part of the group.
One of us.
One of them. Yeah, is the experience. Like, I think it's just gonna be fun. I think no matter what happens, it's gonna be fun, and it's cool. Like, you guys got a cool little thing going, and I think it's a neat idea. In the past, as a matter of fact, like 3 years ago, I didn't go into it like this, but I said to myself, I'm gonna start just recording my hunts. So I went out and bought a camera and did all these things, and I didn't go about it the right way. I didn't do enough research. I bought heavy equipment and all this other stuff, and I did it a few times, and it was just a pain in the butt. And twice that I had a nice deer come by, I was fiddling with that and couldn't get a shot. And I was like, screw this. Like, I was just done with it at the time. And I was by myself. I didn't do it with other people. So, like, it was just one of those things where I was kind of like, whatever. Sold everything. And then here I am 2 years later going, oh, this would be cool to join with these guys. And now I'm trying to maybe go buy some more stuff. And if my wife's listening, I'm sorry.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you feel you want to record these hunts? Because this kind of leads into one of the conversations that we've been having kind of throughout all of these podcasts is that future aspect.
Yeah, I think it's just cool to share with everybody because, like, so for me, I go on a duck hunt with a few of my friends, and then I go to work Monday morning, right? And I'm telling them about these stories, and everyone's laughing, whatever. But I want people to be able to see it too. Like, I want them to see it. I want my kids to see it when I go home, or whatever. Like, I want people to see the same thing I saw, and the same laughs I saw, and the same things, the cool experiences that we had. yeah, I just feel like, and then not only for them, but the other half of that I would say is, well, then 2 months later I rewatch it and like I get a big smile on my face and like, hell yeah, that was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I would say that part of it would be to share the experiences with others and then remind myself later on what we had done. I think that's kind of the cool part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's
I think that's a
jives
big
completely
thing.
with-
That
yeah.
jives a lot with what we've been talking about.
yeah.
The way I've been describing it is it's like 21st century home videos.
Yeah.
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 That's what when I was a kid, there was always the camcorder out,
Yeah.
at Christmas and stuff like that. And
And I think also when we get them out bird hunting this year, I think it'll be cool to see what the camera catches that maybe one of us didn't catch. That's the other aspect that I've been thinking about. Like,
there's all sorts of
putting
cool
things
stuff,
on
yeah.
camera. The guy behind you filming, you're paying attention to whatever's right in front of you or whatever you're involved in. They're just seeing the whole picture for
Right.
the most part. So what are they going to see, or what's
Nice.
the camera going to pick up on?
Yeah.
That either could be a teaching moment,
oh yeah,
could be something
definitely.
like you didn't realize when you turned your back hit something, or you all of a sudden showed white when you're in the blind and
Right.
the birds all of a sudden
Flared,
flared and went the other way. So it'd be it's kind of going to be interesting to see what that catches on the same side.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. There's also some cool stuff like I have for one of my for all the shotguns.
Can we
but,
not put it on the Browning this year because the vibration afterwards is a little intense?
like some of those Tacticam cameras and stuff. So it's cool. Like, I've videoed a handful of goose and duck hunts, and it's neat to like have that angle too. Like the blind pops open, and you just see the barrel coming up, and it's like tracking the birds, and then the bird falls, and then like you just keep seeing that. So like different angles makes really cool stuff. And I remember one hunt we had in a cornfield where we set up some cameras behind us, and we had this flock come in, and we shot all 13 geese out of this flock, and one of them landed right in one guy's lap, right in the layout blind. So it was really cool because we had it on camera. You just see this thing come right down, and boom, he goes like this, gun goes falling down, and the bird just lands right in his lap. So it's it was fun. It's a fun time, and it's cool to like go back and watch that.
Sure. No, that's right up the alley
Yeah.
of why
Yeah.
we've been getting into it for sure.
No, I think that hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yep. And then also another thing I wanted to bring up is obviously in one of the previous episodes we talked about how the three of us signed a business agreement. We've got all that locked together, but you also know a little bit about owning a private business and your own kind of spiel, your
Yeah.
own thing. So what's nice is you're learning about it somewhat to a degree,
Yeah.
but you're ahead of us.
Yeah.
So we can pick your brain on things too.
Yeah.
So, because that's one of the updates that I have at the end of this episode where we're at with some things on that. But do you want to talk about your business too? Because that's a big portion of who you are.
Sure. Yeah. So I shouldn't say just me.
Okay.
My
I was
wife,
gonna
my
say,
wife and
you-
I, my wife and I, we have you probably can't see it because the darkness, but
Yeah.
we do like a little small business. It's a leather business, and we kind of started out as geared towards the fire service. Okay, so I'm in the fire service. You guys all kind of obviously know
All of us
everything.
are.
You know what I mean? So like you guys, I don't have to explain, but it started out as it started out as a frustration with other places that turned into a hobby, that then turned into doing stuff for people, that then turned into a business.
Yep.
And the idea behind it isn't to necessarily get so big and crazy, which it sometimes is, but moreover to like give me something to do other than the other 10,000 things I do, and make and make a little money, like get paid for our vacations and stuff, and, like just little things like that. So like, but on the same token, we have a lot of talk about not letting it affect, family and kids and all that sort of thing. So I have 3 little kids, so there's always on the go, and so there are times where it takes over. And then we can see frustration with the kids. So we're working towards finding that happy line of doing what we want, having fun with it, being creative, putting out good work, but not interfering with the other side of our life either. But anyways, so it's a leather business geared mainly towards the fire service, even though we do other things. And yeah, we make a lot of different things that a lot of people around the country make. We just try to make it better if we can, and I'm a little partial to that, but I feel like I'm so detail oriented with everything I do, and so is my wife, that we do some good stuff.
You and Jess are so detail oriented, it's not even funny.
You know, if you actually sat down and look at like the cost of something and the time into it, it doesn't make sense, but we enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, it's a lot of the stuff. It's the radio straps, it's the shields, it's the suspenders, it's little items. Sometimes it's things I've never even thought of that somebody comes to me and says, hey, can you do this? And we try to do it, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it's gotten pretty big. It started out, like I said, small and just doing it as a hobby, and now it's turned into pretty busy. And like, I just purchased a really big, expensive industrial laser to help do some stuff that I want to do also. And now I'm building a big workshop in my garage to house this.
Was there room
laser.
in the garage?
I hoed out a lot of stuff. I bought a whole bunch of lumber, and now I'm turning it into a big workshop. Because I don't have room. Eventually, I'll just turn all of that into what I need and then build a separate garage, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. And, you know, it's fun. It gives me something to do. And you know, sometimes the kids go to bed and I turn the music on and I go to town and, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah, that happens, yeah.
2, 3.
I was gonna say 12.
Yeah,
Jeez, getting to bed early.
But yeah, it's neat. It's a neat thing, and I've had people ask me because it's grown quite a bit in a very short amount of time. And I've had people ask me like things like, you know, would you ever quit doing construction or quit doing, you know, fire EMS stuff and just do that? And I don't think I ever would, because I enjoy both of those things.
Sure.
But who knows? Maybe someday it'll take over to the point where I don't have to do a bunch of work and physical work that kills my back all the time. But who knows? I don't ever have that plan. It's not in my head. I don't think about it. But who knows where to go? I don't want it to get too big though, that it really affects everything else. So
Yep.
that's kind of where I'm at.
This is kind of what we've talked about a lot with this, is like we're letting it grow
Right.
and go where it's going to go. But the moment that it stops being fun and starts being a chore, we got to stop and we got to back it off.
Yep, exactly.
So,
exactly.
no, I just wanted to give that opportunity for you to talk about that, because that's really cool.
Yeah.
It really is. And you do great work.
And
I've seen a lot of your work.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot as far as like the small business stuff goes. Like, you know, there's a lot of little things that you never think about. Not just like administrative type paperwork things, but even things along the lines of like keeping people happy. So like sometimes if there's an issue with something, I actually go above and beyond and like give people free things or remake things on me or do all these things to, like, at the end of the day, if I make them happy, then they tell the next person, and then it just helps me. A lot of the stuff I've done has been through word of mouth and like repeat customers. I haven't really had to go out and do a lot of like digging for work. It just, when I feel like I'm getting caught up on orders and I feel like, okay, I'm going to have a break, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't have a break. I have a whole bunch more to go, you know?
Right.
Where did these come from?
Yeah, so it just kind of keeps happening. And so, yeah, that it's fun. And at the end of the day, and I got to give a shout out to my wife, because everybody puts my face to this, and she does a lot of it. She does all of the painting.
Yeah.
So like all of the painting, any crazy detail artwork, she does all of it. So she's super talented, and everybody compliments me, and she gets mad. She's like, well, you don't ever tell them that I did it. And I'm like, well, they didn't ask. And, you know,
So here you are on a public platform.
Here it is for the world.
right? See,
I told the guys in Littleton it was Jess.
it is.
That did it. So
So, anyways, yeah.
So, Andrew, have you placed your order yet?
I've got like 3 wish list things that I think I've messaged Tyler like 5 times. Like, hey, we got to get together.
Yeah, we never seem to connect.
No.
Every time you're like, I'm in town, I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
Yep. I got suspenders and a leather strap and a shield that I need done. And
Yep.
Plus, it's also, what do you want? Shit, that's a tough question. I don't know.
You would be surprised how many times that happens. People will come to me and say, hey, I want a radio strap. And I'll be like,
Okay.
awesome. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
The radio strap.
I wasn't ready for a follow-up.
And I'll be like, okay. And then I have to like give them a list. I'm like, okay, so I need to know leather color, paint colors, what you want stamped on it, any other artwork, what color paint do you want? Do you like what hardware color? All these questions that are like, oh my God, I don't know. And some people are very detailed and they give me all the answers. And other people will be like, just put my name on it and use your best judgment for everything else. And I'm like, okay.
Well,
Fingers
Right.
crossed.
it's tough too because in this business there's a lot of other small places that are doing it around the country. But as someone who places orders for my department, I want to give that business not just to you, but to the other people in New Hampshire
Yeah, right.
and Vermont
Right.
and Maine that
Yeah.
are doing quality work.
Right.
It's so tough because everybody wants this stuff and you guys are so busy.
It is busy. You would think there's not that many firefighters out there, right? But holy crap, it's like there's always people wanting something.
Right.
Well, you also got to think about the fact that, Paul, how many departments are you on?
Right.
3?
Yeah, right.
3. So you
I need
need
a strap for every fire
a
service.
strap for every department, a shield for every department, at least a pair of suspenders.
And he needs a spare for his truck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And not just this radio strap, but I also need a radio holster. And can that
Yeah.
be custom? And
Yeah.
Oh, whoa! I don't have that yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, no, as he said,
Yeah.
and then all the other add-ons. I want a chin strap for all 3 helmets.
Yeah. It's cool too. 'cause,
All different
like,
colors.
Right, exactly. It's cool to see the growth too. So, like I said, I'm getting busier, but like, I'm having a website built right now by a lady who's doing an awesome job, and one of the things she's putting on there is like this tracker. So, in other words, like when you go to the website, there's like a map of the U.S. basically, and it shows like these highlighted areas of anywhere in the country of like where you've got customers for. So it's really cool because like you start to look, you're like, holy crap! Like I sent something to Montana, and I sent some here, and I sent some there.
Yeah.
Well, I've noticed on a couple recent
Yeah.
posts you've been sending stuff
California?
quite a ways
Dude,
away.
yeah, I just have people messaging me, and I don't even know who they are, and they're like from a complete different part of the country. And I was like, this is cool, you know what
That's
I mean?
awesome.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
I actually had one guy, he's a pretty nice dude. He ordered a shield, and then he sent me a department, like a shield from his department as like a thank you. He mailed it out to me. He's like, here you go. I was like, it's kind of a cool idea. Get him. Get him. But anyways, yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
that's all about. The downfall to it is hunting season's coming up. So
Things are going to take a little bit
Orders
of a
are over, folks.
there's a pause for a
Yeah.
while. I won't say there's a pause. There's a delay.
Yeah.
More than the normal delay. But anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun though. It's
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that's important. That's the most important part. But
And sorry, I'm gonna cut back in real quick because I just thought of this.
yeah.
It also, because my wife and I do it together, it's also like a little bonding thing for us.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
started out as like she does a lot of crafty things with a smaller laser that we have, and earrings and wood stuff and all this other things. And so we do this now in a room in the house, which eventually will be out in this workshop I'm building. And it's just kind of like a thing where, even though we're not necessarily sitting there chatting each other up the whole time, we're like, we're sitting 2 feet away from each other. She's doing something, I'm doing something, and we're listening to music, doing our thing. We'll talk about whatever, came about from the day or the kids or whatever. But it's just like a thing for us to do other than, me go watch football and her, do something else. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Nice.
Get comfy.
Settled down now, bud? Not really.
No.
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 Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we'll wrap this episode up with just a couple updates. But is there anything else before we do that you want to add to your intro?
No, I think
Okay.
it's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. Hopefully on future episodes we'll get into some more stuff, more details on things. But so just to everybody listening out there, one update that I have is we had a request for stickers, smaller versions of the ones that we all have on the back of the truck. And
We got to get you one of those.
yep, I meant to bring it tonight and I forgot my headphones and that, and
I forgot stuff too. So it's fine.
at least I'm wearing clothes. So those have been ordered. I actually just got the proof back from the company and approved it. So they're going to start production. It's probably going to take about 3 weeks for them to come in. That includes the shipping time. So I ordered like 50 of them. I think. Actually, no, I ordered 100 of them. So we will have plenty on hand for the future and that we can sell out there. So we got that. an update kind of to you guys is this whole bank account thing has been a pain for me to set up because I have to register our business with the state first, and the state doesn't do anything fast. So I submitted it. I am waiting for them to get me back the approval that no one else has our name, and then I can go forward and go to the bank and say that I have a letter of good standing with the state and open up that account. So
Great.
that's where we're at.
Well, then
with
we
that.
can get the Venmo set up, and
It'll make things easier. And-
so
Yep. So, and I also updated in the last one. I'm looking into getting a website sorted out for that. Whether or not I try to set it up myself or work with somebody else that knows what the heck they're doing, that's still up in the air as to pricing it out. So,
yeah.
but that's pretty much all I got for updates. Do either of you guys have anything going on?
No.
Okay.
Top of my head, the Instagram page is up and running.
Yep.
Yep.
Because I think that was the last.
We had a weird thing happen where we don't know if it was operator error or what, but some people are saying they're having problems finding us on Facebook
Yep.
when they search our page. We're trying to figure that out, but we can't figure out why.
You know, the best way to follow us is?
The best way.
The best way is just to subscribe.
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Smash that like button.
Just subscribe. subscribe.
Hit that subscribe.
Hit that subscribe button and the little bell. What else do people say?
I don't know.
Don't they do this? Don't they say we're going to put a link down here?
Yeah, down here, something like that.
Link in the comments.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, too, that has been a thing of like some people can't find us on YouTube as well. They type in our name and there's some like weird like Wild and the Wonderful Whites of Alabama that pops up, and
Ooh,
it
sounds
looks
lovely.
It looks like
does, actually.
Alabama's version of Tiger King. That's not us, okay?
But it could be.
So
Depends on how well this goes.
I think-
Or not.
or not, right? I think it might have to do with how like we have like zero subscribers. Like I take the link, I post it on the Facebook page to the YouTube link every single week, and people watch it. So like the views are up, but there's like no
I
subscribers.
think there's like 30 right?
I don't think there's even that many.
Oh,
dude.
okay. Maybe I was looking-
on YouTube.
on YouTube.
I don't think that there's that many. So if
Good
you
traffic
guys
on Facebook, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Apple Podcast, Spotify, super easy. You plug in the name and it's popping right up. But YouTube, not so much. So if you guys can jump on there and just hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, I think that's going to really help other people find us. So
Agreed.
yeah, that would be fantastic if you guys can do that. And I'm probably going to throw something up on the Facebook and Instagram pages asking the same thing. So,
Yeah.
but cool. Anybody got anything else, or is that pretty much
I think we're
it
good.
for now? All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.